Chapter 1. Writing is a process. My pencils outlast the erasers. Vladimir Nabokov. For most people, writing their first book takes a good long time, and finding a publisher for that book takes even longer. Granted, the advent of ebooks and viable self-publishing alternatives have streamlined the waiting game for some, but for most, especially those in traditional publishing, writing is a time-consuming process. I frequently hear aspiring writers complain about how long it takes to finish a book, and then, after a brief pause, they lean into my ear and whisper, "Can you give me a shortcut? How do you do it?" I suppose since I've written over 40 books, they think I must have some magic trick, an enchanted word processor or something. If they knew how long I've been at it, or how many hours a day I put into it, they wouldn't bother asking. But since they do, I always give the same reply. There are no shortcuts. Sit down and write. The other pattern I've noticed far too frequently is that after writers have finally broken through, published that first book, had a little success, they think it's going to be easy from now on. A little validation can go a long way, I suppose. And this leads to what is commonly known as the sophomore book problem. Put bluntly, the second book is rarely as good as the first. Why? Because the writer either thinks they're a proven genius, or this is a snap, so they crank some silly thing out too quickly without taking it through all the steps of the writing process. My first book, Primary Justice, got me a 3-book contract. Having now had a tiny taste of success, I plowed into the sequel, writing quickly and basically amusing myself with little thought to my audience. To be fair, I was practicing law full-time and had a baby at home, but those are not excuses for mediocre work. My saving grace was that I had a wonderful editor, Joe Blades, who wouldn't let me commit writer suicide. "This isn't as good," he told me bluntly. He marked up the manuscript till it dripped with blood-red ink, gave me extensive notes, and 6 weeks to make it better. Otherwise, he wasn't publishing it. Hardest 6 weeks of my life, but I got it done. Opinions differ on whether my second book is as good as the first, but at least it wasn't a complete embarrassment. And Joe taught me a lesson that has stuck with me to this day. No matter how smart I think I am, no matter how brilliant the premise is, there are no shortcuts. Writing a book takes time, period. If you don't have the time, you're in the wrong field. Writing is a process with no shortcuts that will not jeopardize the quality of your work. Efficiency is not slacking. That said, I can give you some suggestions on how to produce a first-rate book, not quickly, but without wasting time unnecessarily. As you listen to the subsequent chapters, you may think to yourself, "Holy smokes, this writing process stuff would take forever." And the truth is, the first time you implement this plan, the first time you work through all the steps, it may take a long time. So what? If book writing were easy, everyone would be doing it. Imagine a world in which everyone who ever wanted to write a book actually did. There would be so many novels no one would know what to read next. Writing is hard. There are no miracle drugs, miracle devices, or miracle software programs that will make you a brilliant writer. If you're thinking drink or drugs will put you on the fast track to genius, think again. No one ever wrote anything worth reading under the influence, and any stories you've heard to the contrary are probably apocryphal.